Good afternoon, everyone. It is 2 o'clock, and usually I give everyone a couple minutes to get their way in here and get before we get started. But we have Equatio that we are doing today, and I'm going to need every second of this hour that I have with you, and even then we might not be able to get through it all. So in the chat, I have put our link for signing in. If you wouldn't mind, please taking a minute to do that. My morning session, we had some very helpful people that repasted that link in there anytime someone came in. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, if you notice someone pops into the meet while I'm doing something, if you wouldn't mind pasting that link in so that they get credit for signing in. Once every 5 minutes or so, we'll do it. I'm going to paste it one more time, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to get through today. So today's agenda, we are going to be, we're going over Equatio today. Equatio is a math tool that makes editing and inserting math into the G Suite environment not only helpful, but it's one of the only programs out there that can do what it does. So today we're going to look at just what are extensions. If you were here this morning, we're going to kind of just go over the same really quick little thing. We're going to talk about what is Equatio. We're going to talk about the toolbar that Equatio has and all the amazing features that are available to you. And then depending on time, because that will take quite a while, depending on time, I hope to get plenty of time to use the math space as well as Google Forms and Equatio, using those things together. So let me start off. I need to share my entire screen for this. Okay. So first of all, what is an extension, right? And so up here at the top, I turned these off earlier this morning. I don't like to have this many extensions, but if you notice at the top right of my screen, I have quite a few extensions installed. And so starting from like the far right, I have something called Google Docs Online. I have an Extensity extension, Chrome Remote Desktop, and each one of these things are programs basically that come into Chrome, and it's like an add-on, and it will change the behavior of Chrome. And so most of the extensions that I have are installed by the district, like the Read and Write extension and the Screenshot Reader and the Chrome Remote Desktop. Some of these are going to be already installed for you. But the one we're talking about today is this one that I have on the very far left, which is Equatio. And I always have to kind of warn people. I did it this morning. I'm going to do it here again. If extensions are far and wide. You can install extensions that seem like they can do almost anything, and it's kind of like the Wild West out there. I usually try to only install extensions that have upwards of 100,000 installs already, so that I know that it's probably more of a safe extension to install. As an example, we have some students that have installed some mouse pointer extensions that interfere with the way that they can interact with Google, and so we have to actually go into because it'll completely break their setup. So we have to go in and get rid of the extensions for them because it's causing some issues. And so try to vet the things that you put on there. Of course, none of that applies to what we're going to be talking about today, which is Equatio. Now, again, at the top, I don't like having all these extensions installed. This is way too much for me. So if you'll notice, right next to the picture right here, I have a puzzle piece for extension. So I'm going to click on that, and this is going to show you all the extensions that you have installed, and all of them are going to show up there because they are pinned. And so what I'm going to do is go through and I'm going to unpin all of my extensions. That doesn't mean that they're uninstalled. They're still there. They're just hidden from my browser. And so I'm going to unpin all of those extensions, and now it's a lot more clean, and I can see what I'm doing a little bit better instead of having to hunt through, the 20 different extensions that I have installed. So So that's one way to clean things up. If you installed an extension and no longer want an extension, you might be given the opportunity to do that. For example, some of these are installed by the district and you can't uninstall them, but you have Eyedropper here. It's something that lets me pick the colors out of different websites so I can color match. But if I click on these three dots, I can click the remove from Chrome and it'll completely get rid of that extension. So if you're ever having issues with an extension, that's how you can get rid of them. So those are extensions as a big picture. For the extension we're doing today, again, Equatio, it is installed for you as long as you are logged into your district account, or if you're on a Chromebook. This is also installed for students on all of their Chromebooks. It's been pushed out to them. So there's no setup required for them. All they have to do is log into their Chromebook and Equatio will be installed for them. Okay, so let me go ahead and I was messing with this just a bit ago. So what is Equatio? Equatio, as I said, is an extension that allows you to insert math where you otherwise wouldn't have been able to insert it. And if you have been using Google for quite some time, you might recognize Equatio. It used to be called GMath, and now they did a name change like 3.5 years ago, give or take, and changed their name to Equatio. If you have ever used Equatio before, I think today is still going to be very useful for you, but we have a lot of stuff to get through, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I am in a Google Doc, and I can use Equatio inside of this Google Doc. I can also use Equatio inside of a Google form. I can use Equatio inside of Google Sheets, and then there's also part of the extension. I can also open up PDFs and do some stuff there, and but we'll kind of get to that as we go through. And so up at the top right is my Equatio extension, and I'm just going to click on that, and my Equatio extension is going to open up right here in the bottom. I'm going to hide my screen sharing, and so I'm given quite a few buttons here. We're going to go over all of these buttons, but I'm going to start off with a big blue one right here on the far left, which is going to give most of my options. So I'm given options, help and support. You can send feedback. If you click on the help and support, it's going to give you some just text documents. I believe they're going to update this. There's a thing called Equatio Academy, and you can get more information and watch videos there. I don't know if this links to Equatio Academy yet, but again, you can send feedback. Here's the Equatio MathSpace. This is kind of the link that I use anytime I want to use MathSpace, and then I can just close Equatio and have it go away. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it back up. So I'm going to go into the options and just kind of take a look at it. Make sure that you are running the premium version. And if you want to kind of follow along, you can open up a Google Doc. You can do it quickly if you type docs.new. So docs.new, docs.new, and it will open up a brand new document for you, and that way you can just start typing. So it's a quick way to get started with a new Google Doc. But if you want to follow along and make sure that you're seeing what I'm seeing, make sure that you have the premium version installed. And it should, as long as you are logged into the school district's to your school district account. So math options, I'm going to make sure that I kind of cover this. There is prediction for math, chemistry, as well as formulas. If you don't think you'll ever use chemistry, then you can turn those off. If you don't think, if you do lower elementary math and you don't ever think you'll ever use formulas, you can turn that off and it won't predict it. And it actually won't even appear inside of the extension. So if you are a chemistry teacher and you do not see chemistry equations or formulas popping up for you, it's probably because these buttons have been turned off for whatever reason. They're turned on automatically, but for what, maybe something got turned off and you'll just have to go in there and turn it back on. But you can pick and choose other features that you want to turn off. So if you do not want, for example, the Equatio Academy button showing, you can click that button and it will take it away. And you can do that for any of these tools as well. And for the most part, the rest of it, you're probably just going to leave the way that it is. You're going to insert it automatically. You can either pick that or speed or quality. Automatic is a pretty good in the middle. You're going to make sure that your status is a teacher. And this might be something that you need to check. And then there's just an about page right here. So those are the options that are available to you. But again, what is Equatio? So I'm going to go ahead and open up my editor. And when I click on this editor, it's the equation editor, you're met with basically an empty box that you can start typing. You also have some options here across the top. You have your Equatio Academy button that you can go to. And then on the far right, you have a little smiley face. And what that smiley face is going to do as you're typing your math, it's going to check and make sure that the math that you're typing, that they have it inside of their system. So there's a green, yellow, red. There's a stoplight, situation that they got set up. If it starts getting yellow, then you're kind of testing the limits of what the math that it has in there. And if it ever turns red, that means you are doing advanced math beyond what they have on here. But I challenge you to find math that is not in here, because as you'll see in today's session, they have pretty much everything that you could imagine. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's say I'm a lower elementary math, and I just want to do 3 plus 4 equals. Okay, I can type that in, and just like I would normally type it in. I can type 3 plus 4 equals. My symbol is going to be there, and I can click Insert Math. So just generally, what it's going to do is it's going to take the information from this box. It's going to make sure that it's math. And whenever I click this Insert Math button over here, it's going to put it inside of my document. Now, that is now an image. And so normally people think, oh, well, it's an image. I can't edit an image in any way. So if you made a mistake here and you meant to put 14, or 13 plus 4, it's an image, so you wouldn't think that you can edit it, but you can. I'm going to click on that image, and I'm going to click Edit Math, and it's actually going to bring it right back up. And so maybe, like I said, I wanted to change it to 13 plus 4. I can change it, insert the image, and the picture gets changed to 13 plus 4. So I don't have to start from scratch just because I made a little bit of a mistake. But I am not limited to simple math, elementary math. So for example, I could do just a little bit more advanced. Let's see, 2x plus, actually put a space in there, 2x plus 4 equals 20. I'm going to get a little bit more challenging here, but again, that's not too much. And so I can put this question inside of here, and I'm going to go ahead and insert it. Now you notice that because I didn't edit this, it is a new picture. So I'm going to go over here and do a couple lines down, and now I've got the two images that are ready to go. Now, I can go a little bit beyond that, and I'm going to show some of you how to, again, some of you that have used Equatio before, I'm going to go ahead and edit this, show you something that maybe you were unaware that this did. So I brought it back over here, and let's say I wanted my students to actually answer this. They have access to Equatio as well. So maybe I wanted them to show the work here from this problem. So what I'm going to do is I want them to, again, show all of their work. So I want to actually copy this to the next line. Now there's a quick way to copy this, and you're going to use your keyboard shortcut for this, and it's Control, Shift, and the Enter key. And what it does is it copies the line that I'm on, and it'll copy it right down to the second line. And so now I can begin answering this. So on this line, let's see, I wanted to do, I need to subtract 4 on both sides. And by the way, I'm moving back and forth using my mouse key, so I can go inside or outside of this, not my mouse key, excuse me, using my keyboard left and right. And so I'm able to move within this. So I needed to subtract 4 on both sides, and I'm going to show you the next tool right here. Because this is the work that I've done, I'm going to change the color of this to purple just to show that I've done, that's the work that I did. So now I want to copy this again. So I'm going to do my Control, Shift, and Enter key. And let's see, I'm going to actually answer that. So I'm going to come over here and change this back to black. And let's see, I did 4, let's see, plus 4 minus 4, and 20 minus 4 is 16. So there we go. So what do I need to do next? I'm going to go ahead and Control Shift Enter, and to copy it one more time. Now I need to divide. So how do I add a division symbol? Again, what's nice about Equatio is that for the most part, it's going to do a lot of it for you. It's pretty smart. And so I'm going to put the slash key over here, the / button, and it automatically creates the fraction and puts you inside of the denominator ready to go. But you're not just limited to that, because how do we actually say these things? Sometimes we might say 2x over. So if I start typing the word over, you can see that there's a prediction button that comes up, and I can actually click that button and it'll do the same thing. So these buttons get added along the way, get popped up depending on the context of what you need them for and how you type that. So on this, I need to divide by 2 on both sides. Ooh, there we go. So let's try that again. There we go. So now I need to divide by 2. This is the work that I'm doing, so I'm going to put that in purple, and I'm going to copy my next line down. Let's change it to black one more time. And now I need to answer this. So 2 divided by 2 is going to be just 1, so x, and then this needs to get changed to 16 divided by 2 is 8, so I have my answer right here. Now I can insert this, so a student could do this, by the way, and they could insert their math, and you would be able to not just see the question, but you can see the work that was done prior to that. Now, I know what some of you are thinking already. You're like, yeah, but their equal signs aren't lined up, and that really bothers me, stuff like that, right? Stuff that we get picky about. But you can actually do some of that on here too. So I'm going to click Edit Math, and I am going to click around here. And you notice when I click anywhere inside of here that I'm getting these alignment buttons that pop over here to the left. Now everything's set to align left right now, but of course I can change that to align right, which doesn't help me all that much, but here's the one that I really, really like. I can put it right before the equal sign, the first equal sign, and one of these buttons is align based on relation. And so if I click on that, oh, it didn't do it that time. Come on, it was doing it. Try that one more time. Oh, see, I did this before and it worked out perfectly. So let me see what I did wrong over here. Everything looks good. Oh, goodness. So I promise you that this worked right before. Maybe that's the reason right there. I put an extra space in there. Line relation, stuff's still not going over. But I might be able to copy and paste this over. So I can cut it from there and paste it over there. It does it for me. It did it for me, I should say, earlier. But I can go ahead and copy it over. That @ symbol's there. So I'm wondering if I had a space somewhere that I shouldn't have put. So I can align it based on whatever, however I want to, and then on this left side, I can align right, and it will align. There we go. That looks a little bit better along the way, right? So it took a little bit more work there than I was hoping for. It had been doing it pretty well whenever I was doing my testing. But anyway, so I'm going to insert the math. And now not only do I have my work, but I have my work showing that looks aligned, looks a little bit more cleaner, and you can kind of work through it through there. So in addition to, and I'm not going to do math this entire time, you can, I'm going to get rid of all this, going over the few buttons. Automatically whenever you start typing, so if I start typing anything like let's see, if I start sign, it's going to automatically change to sign. So I can actually insert the formula right there. But if I just need to type something else, just maybe put some explanation or something, I can put the insert text and begin typing here. And now I can type the word sign in as just a regular word. Now that's might not make too much of a difference whenever you're in a Google Doc, but it will be something that you might want to use later, and it's included throughout the program. So you can insert a text by putting that right there. I already showed you how to change color. We'll come over to the favorites here in a second. You know, let me get what I had there. You know, you can highlight everything and click delete, or you can just push this clear button. It's going to clear everything that's inside of there. But here's where it starts getting really, really interesting. So I'm going to click the more button, and I'm given quite a bit more items here. And so I have superscripts and subscripts that I can click from here. I have different symbols that I can pick from right here. So here's, if I just need a less than or greater, less than or equal to symbol, I can see it right there. But not just less than or greater than. You can see all the symbols, even down to the Greek alphabet that they have available for you as well. There's the layout button, and we're going to get into a couple of these things here in a minute. And then every formula that you can ever imagine has been added in here. So for example, if I need the quadratic formula, in one click I can put the quadratic formula inside of my document for my students. And again, if we gave them a problem right above that, they could show their work by copying this information and plugging in the numbers and working through it. But again, even the quadratic formula is more of a fairly common mathematical formula. If you go into the formulas, you can kind of see all of them, but you don't have to go into the formula. So if I just start typing quadratic formula, it's going to appear right here, and I can click right away. But again, there's all sorts of ones. So here's one that I found that's fun. Here's the Simpsons rule of integration. Can you imagine having to try to type that into your document? And that would not be fun. That would not be something that you would want to do. But you can plug it just by typing in the formula's name, and it will actually make it available to bring up automatically. So, and again, we're not just limited to mathematical functions as well. You also have, for example, let's see if I can, chemical compounds, for example. Let's start typing in chlorine. So if I type in chlorine, it will put the chemical compound for that. Maybe I want to add in, let's see, hydrogen. So I can type in, here's my H2. I can, if I add those together and start typing in yield, I can say yield with heat, and those symbols that would really be basically impossible for you to put into your own document become just a couple clicks away whenever you're doing it on here. So I won't pretend like I know enough chemistry to be able to solve this, whether even this is written correctly or not, but the information inside of Equatio knows whether or not what you're going for. So if you need to put something in there, you can do that, again, just with a few clicks. So I talked about fractions just a bit ago. So if I wanted to create 3/8, I could use the slash command, but I can also I can type the word over and just push enter, and it's going to put it over there. I can even do something a little bit different, say out of. So 3 out of, and it'll give me my fraction ready to go. And I didn't have it in the right spot, so out of, there we go. And so using regular, like you would say this, like you would say these, it is smart enough to figure out what you were going for along the way. Okay. So there are a couple additional options over here. As I said, if you find yourself needing to use the quadratic formula a lot, you can put a star next to that, a star next to that, and a star next to that. And if you go into your favorites button, then all of your starred symbols are there for you. So I can plug in my quadratic formula just by pushing my star button there. One thing that I wanted to show, especially for the younger elementary, there are some, if you go into the layouts, because I have that set up, there we go. Here's all my layouts. I can insert directly in some matrices as well as multiplication that is done vertically, or addition that's done vertically. So actually, I thought I had that saved in my favorites, but I had it. I had quadratic there, so it was only searching through certain ones. But so here we go. Addition of 3-digit vertical. Once I click on that, 3-digit vertical addition will appear, and inside of each box, I can put a digit of my choice. And so I can do 312 plus 91 plus 10. Oops, see, I put it in the wrong box. Plus 10, and I can insert that math and There it is. So let me get rid of the old one. So there's my 312 plus 91 plus 10. It's broken up by columns and so forth. If I go back in here, you'll notice if I click on, for example, this 10 here, if I wanted to add an additional column, I guess an additional row below that, I can come over here and click on new row and add another math, another row of that. So I can get rid of my bottom, my middle plus and add that, and then add an additional number. And I can not just expand it lengthwise, but widthwise as well. I can add new columns to the right and make these numbers as big as I want. And it will do a pretty good job of keeping the vertical alignment for kids that need the vertical alignment in order to answer the questions that they are working on. So, you know, last little bit I was working on, or at the beginning I was working on this. I'm going to do one thing and I'll kind of show you what I did here in a second. But so here's some work that I had done earlier, and I'm not going to try the alignment again, but in addition to the being able to show your work in this way, you can also, and I don't have everything on here. So if I did, let me just copy this actually, just this part. So let's go, we'll just do it like this. 4x plus 7 equals 43. It is what it is. So if I copy that line down again, instead of answering it and kind of deleting it throughout, there's also, as I hover over this, there's also a way, and if I go into my More button here, these are the text options. I can use Strikethrough as well. So they can show their work using the Strikethrough button, so that as they're working through the numbers here, we can a little bit more clearly see what's going on. So I kind of wanted to show that as we started working on it. Nell, let me look at the, so the alignment, what it's supposed to do here is it's whatever I put my cursor next to. So if I put my cursor next to the equal sign, I should be able to click the align relation, and yeah, see, it worked that time. And so whenever I click the align relation, then it's going to line up from now on. It's going to line up based on wherever that relationship was, which in this case was the equal sign. And so now I actually have these numbers over here are separate from the numbers on the left. So now I can do alignment for the column on the right. So I could align that to the right. Let's see, oh, that's the relation. So I can align that to the right, or I can, let me go back one more time, align by relation, and then I can align the left side of the document as well. I can align that to the right, so it's closer. Well, it's not going to let me do it. So let's see, align right. See, it keeps trying to change that. So if you just want it aligned by the relation, by the equal sign, then you can do that right there. I don't know why it's not letting me then also align to the right. It was letting me do that earlier. Seems like that might be a little finicky there. Yeah, it keeps changing along the way. So, but I'm using these buttons right over here to change that alignment. As I said, I worked it on the first time and I was like, oh, perfect, that's good enough. And so apparently that aligning, I'm doing something wrong or something along the way. So the alignment button will only show up if you have multiple lines that are on your document, I guess. So if I get rid of this second line over here, it's probably going to get rid of my alignment. Oh no, yeah, see, so my alignment's gone depending on where I am in the document. So if I get out of this number, so the alignment goes away, but if I click on the middle of it, then it shows up. Okay, so let me just make sure that I've covered everything in the chat before we go on to the next thing. I went over fractions, I went over chemical compounds, quadratic formula, statistics, Simpsons rule of integration. Okay, so that's the main feature of Equatio. That's going to be the big one of just getting used to what this has to offer, but that's not nearly all of it. So the next button over here is the Latex Editor. I called it the Latex Editor in a training one time with the people at Equatio, and they're like, it's not latex, it's latex, so don't call it latex. But latex, yeah, see, there I am again. LaTeX is a math language that even they say basically it started off with this G math started mostly with the LaTeX editor. But they even say all these other buttons that they include inside of Equatio are built so that you don't have to use the LaTeX editor. Now, the LaTeX editor is useful, and we'll kind of see that later on why you might need to use that. So I'm going to come back to it, but unless you know the language of LaTeX, then yeah, good luck, right? Okay, the next little bit is we have graphing. So we have graphing that happens as well, and I wanted to show this off. If any of you have heard of Desmos, they do a global math art contest, which is fun. So this is ages 13 to 14. So this is a 13 or 14-year-old that created this using nothing but formulas and graphing. And so what's nice, because everything is built in, I should start with this, that the graphing tool built in Equatio comes from Desmos. So they work hand in hand together. So if I were to click on this, it's going to open this up inside of Desmos. And so this is a graph that this student has done, and you can see the mathematical formulas in order to place this. I mean, ridiculous, right? I mean, crazy how they were able to do this. But anyways, inside of Desmos, you can see up top here is the URL, and I'm going to right-click on this and click copy, and just to kind of show the integration inside of. Let me pull up the right thing. I'm sorry. There we go. Just to show the integration, if I, let me delete this. Now, if I try to right click, you notice I don't have a paste button, so I can't paste that URL in. But if you know the keyboard shortcut for pasting, which is Control V, I can do that. So I'm going to Control V, which is paste, and I'm going to paste that in, and it's coming directly from Desmos into Equatio. Now I have that work. And so what's kind of cool is if I wanted to just show this off into my class, I can insert that graph into my document, and there's that. There it is. Now again, this is an image, but the kids can click Edit Math, and it's going to take them right into the graph that they're looking at, and they can get a closer look at it. Okay, so that's like big picture. That's like, you know, if you are a Equatio master like some of these kids are, you know, that's what you can do with this stuff. But what are some things that you can do in your own classroom, especially if you're kind of just getting into to graphing? So I'm going to start over here in the equation editor, and I'm just going to type in, let's go 3x squared. And so if I want squared, I can actually just start typing in squared, and 3x squared appears. I can also, instead of typing in squared, I can type super for superscript, and I can put in my my number there. But either way, it's going to get you into the same spot. So because I have this inside of my equation editor, it's actually kind of bimodal, or more than bimodal, but you can use it throughout the program and you don't have to change it. So if I have 3x squared here and I click on my graph editor, then here's my 3x squared, and it's graphed for me. And so you can see the work as it appears. And all of this happens in real time. Okay, so if I change this to 3x squared plus 1, then it's going to move that graph up to 3x squared plus 1, and it did that automatically. And I'm not limited to just that. I can change this 3, maybe change it to a variable a. Now it gives me the opportunity to add a slider. So I'm going to click my slider of a, and now it's set a to 1, and I can move this slider, and my graph gets moved automatically. And whenever I get below 0, it flips like it should. And so, and I can show this off in class in a way that I wouldn't have been able to show off you know, on a smartboard, just with me drawing it on the whiteboard. So you can set it up to do that. What's nice too is you can edit this number and you can actually have it play automatically. So let's say I wanted to start it at negative 15 and I wanted it to go to positive 15 and I wanted the steps to go by, let's go 0.2. I can play this and it will play for me. And so the kids can see, again, in real time as the bar goes from less than to greater than, what's happening to that graph as it starts moving. So that's built in, but you aren't just limited to one item. I'm going to change that back to one. You aren't just limited to one item on your graph. You can add additional information as well. So I can, let's say I add 5x minus 4, and that graph is going to appear. That line is going to appear right there beside my other line. So I can have two different lines going at a time. And if I click on one, I can hide it. But if I long click on it, so click and hold, now I can change the style, change the color based on whatever I would like. Okay, and so that's how you can add multiple graphs or multiple line or parabolas, whatever you need. That's how that student was able to add so much, because they just kept adding line after line after line in order to get the look that they were going for. Let's see. Right over here, though, you are given some more options. So if I have 5x minus 4 here, you'll notice that there's a plus button on the top left. I'm going to click on that plus button, and it's going to give me the opportunity. Of course, I can do expressions. I can do notes. So I'm actually going to go do a note. I'm going to put that note right up here at the top. I can actually give directions. Please place A equal to 4, just to see what's going on. Now that's not going to appear anywhere on the graph because it's a comment, but the first thing that they see whenever they go to this is that note, and so they can see, oh, okay, I'm supposed to place this at 4 to see what it looks like. Now you could probably come up with better comments than I did, but there you go. But in addition, if I click on this line right here and I click on a table, it will add the ability to change to add coordinates to this as well. So if I wanted, let's see, x1 to be 4 and y1 to be 5, it places a point on my graph. Let me put that closer to the bottom there. It places a point on my graph, and I can continue adding to this table. So 3 and 4. If I wanted to then have them get the slope of that line and to be able to answer it, they could actually answer it over here. So they could put, y equals mx plus b, put their line based on those coordinates, and draw the line based on this information. So that is available to them as well. And in fact, let me delete some of these. I can, if I edit this, over here, I'm clicking on the settings cog right here, and I'm going to click edit. Now it gives me the opportunity, instead of adding a brand new table in here, I can convert this 5x minus 4 into a table themselves. And so now not only is the line there, but there are points on that line that are graphed for me. So I think it always does -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and then it graphs the points based on that information. And I can then take that information and use it however I need to. I can change, again, just like I did before, I can change the color of the graph. I can change the look of the points that are on there just by clicking on that information right there. Let me see, anything on graphing? Oh, there is also accessibility features built into this. So let me change this graph over here. We're going to do y equals 2x plus 4. So, so the line gets built in and it's put there. And so what I'm going to do is, this is a brand new one for me, so this one's pretty cool. You can actually do tracing with this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to click in here, and using my keyboard shortcut, I'm going to do Alt plus T. Maybe I have to click here, Alt plus T. There we go. And you can see audio tracing is on. And I really want you to be able to listen to this, and I don't know if you'll be able to. Let me try, though. Chrome tab. Okay, so we see auto tracing is on. I hope you can hear this, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to push, I turned it off, Alt T, and I'm going to push the letter H. Did you guys hear that? There you go. So now using that, the kids can actually hear what that line would look like. And if I was better at knowing my formulas, you know, you can get one that goes up and down and up and down, and it will rise and lower based on the information that's on the screen. So as the dot goes through the line, or I guess it's not a line, whatever you would call it. Come on, Nell, help me out here. It will go high and low, and they'll be able to listen to what a line looks like. Thank you. So there you go. So you can test all that out and make sure that that I'm telling the truth on that. But that's a fun one. And again, anytime I want to put this information inside of my document, I can just push Insert Graph, and it will put that information right inside of my Google Doc. So I'm going to go stop presenting there, go back to the whole thing so that you don't miss anything that I move to. So, so those are the tools. Honestly, those are the tools that you're going to be using probably most frequently if you are, especially if you're an upper, upper secondary teacher, and just these functions you wouldn't be able to do. And again, if you asked your kids, if you gave them this line and you asked them to find the slope of this line, they should be able to find it just by basing on looking at it and doing the math attached to it. But if they click Edit Math on their end, they'll be able to actually see what that line is. And so you can give them an equation and then have them do a graph based on that and kind of go the other way. And I'll show that off here in 1 second. But there are additional features. And so I'm going to go to this. This is the Handwriting Tool. The Handwriting Tool, first of all, you'll notice it brought in the math that I am already using. So again, I had my graph at 2x plus 4. Actually, it didn't pull in the same one, did it? No, it's 3x squared, which is the same one I had over here. So I guess my equation editor kept that information even though I changed it. But once I go into my handwriting, I'm going to delete this, and I can start writing whatever I need to in here. So so I can do 2x, and I'm writing with my mouse, so it might be a little rough. So 2x to the third power minus 6, and as you can see right off on the side, it did a pretty good job of finding that for me. Now, if you wanted them to erase some of this, and this is one that I actually just found out recently. Let's say they made a mistake and that 6 should have been an 8. I'm going to scribble through it, and you kind of have to do it fast. Oh, there we go, and it goes away. Oh, now that's there. Oh, I've just made it worse. Come on. I'm erasing some things, but not all of them. There we go. Oh my goodness. If that's too hard, then you can just do the undo button right over there and get rid of it as well. Trust me, whenever I say erasing with your mouse is not that easy. Erasing, if they have a pen or if they have a stylus that they are using, then that is going to be a lot better. Unfortunately, the devices that we have at the high school level do not allow for that. Some devices in the district do. Mostly those were purchased after the first set. So long story short, they're going to be using either their fingers for this or the mouse. Okay. So let me get rid of all that here and just let's clear it all out. And I want to also point out that let's say I go 4x minus 2 equals 20. Oh, that probably needs to be 18, but that's all right. And let's say I actually, oh man, I needed this 4x to be a 2x. So again, I can go in and erase it if, oh lordy, if it'll let me. Come on. There we go. And you'll notice that the right-hand side, it didn't erase everything. And if I put the 2x where it needs to go, it doesn't mess it up. It puts it as it's written. So if you do make a mistake and you need to erase it, or if you just need to add, man, I need to add a 5 plus over here, then you can do that. I want to also point out that it is pretty smart. So if I do 4x plus 5, You can see the 4x plus 5. And if I get rid of the 5 there, it did it for me last time. This plus, well, now it got rid of everything. The plus actually got changed the last time I did it to a t. So it knew that 4x plus was waiting on something, and so I needed the t to go along with it. Do you need something signed?
Yeah, I wanted you to take a look at this before I got it off the truck that way.
Give me one sec, guys. All right, sorry about that. I'm the only person here, and there's a delivery, but we're gonna be able to work through it. All right, so so that's a handwriting tool. Now, if the handwriting tool is not good enough, you also have you have two more options here, speech input as well. Speech input can get a little bit dicey. I'm not gonna lie. And let me give you an example of this. Anything that I say can come up through here. So I'm going to put my speech over here, and I'm going to push the record button. 2x squared minus 13y equals 12. And there you go. It put it in there, and it did a good job. So that's another good accessibility feature that's ready to go. And I can bounce between these two sides. So let's say I wanted to, add an additional line. I can do my keyboard shortcut to add it again, and then I could, let's see, put my cursor there and say minus 13, minus 13. And it will input it. Now, you notice it put it there twice. Now, just because it's here doesn't mean I can't mess with it. So I can delete the minus 13 that appeared there twice, and now my information that I put in is correct. This does struggle. Let me show you how it struggles here. The square root of 4y cubed over 6x. So over didn't really do a good job there, but if I go ahead and erase that and then put my slash there, I can go in here and fix it as well. So, and if I wanted this y to y cubed, I probably shouldn't use my voice for all of it, but I can get it started and then change it. So y cubed. There we go. And now my y cubed does appear inside of my square root symbol. So the voice function is good, but again, it's not like you can just go through and say everything and it's going to type it exactly perfect with no errors whatsoever. You do kind of have to keep an eye on it as you go through. So that's the voice feature. Now there is also a mobile feature, and so I don't want to get this set up with my cell phone, but and there are limitations to this as well. So you have to be on the same Wi-Fi from what I've been told, and you have to use, if you're on an Android, you have to use Google Chrome. So if you use a Firefox browser or anything else, it won't work. And if you're on Apple, you have to use Safari. But you can also use the Chromebook itself. Now, why might you want to do that? Let me give you an example. If I go to this, what it's going to do is it's going to open it up in a different tab. And normally I would have to sign in, but I'm already signed in. And you can actually see all of the documents that I have open right now. And so this is the one that I'm working on right now. It's going to be on the top. And this, the way that this looks on my screen right now is the exact same way that it looked on my cell phone whenever I did this, whenever I practiced with this earlier today. And so I can use handwriting, and I can draw on my phone using my finger. So for those high school students that would like to physically write it out, using something, they can use their fingers on their devices. You can still use the voice command on this. So if you do not have a microphone attached to your device, you can send it over to your cell phone and record that way. But what I really like about this one is you can use the camera feature. And so there I am, and I wrote down a symbol there, and I'm going to take a picture of it. You can see me having to lean over the side there. And now I can fit this to where it needs to be. And hide that. Whenever I click OK, it's going to ask me if I want to save it as math or as an image. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it as math, and it will do a pretty good job of converting that. And it actually did a perfect job of converting that. So my handwriting that, you know, isn't always the best, it did a pretty good job. And whenever I click the insert button over to the right, it will put that in my document. And actually I picked the wrong document, but I guess it doesn't matter because because it's an image, I can copy it and paste it into the correct document that I want to be working on. Okay, now in addition to inserting it as a formula, as an image that way, you can also insert it. Oh, and it's still there, so I didn't even have to take another picture. I can also insert it as actual as an image itself. So I'm going to click the Save as Image this time, and it's going to take exactly what I wrote down, and I can insert that into the document as well. So now I have my great way for your kids to show the work that they did, and not just assume that they went out on the internet and found the right answer. You can have them take a picture with Equatio and insert that math into the document. So it's a great way of doing that. Okay, so that's the mobile feature. I am quickly running out of time, and so I'm going to change the order that I'm doing things, and because I want to make sure that I get to this Google form here, because this is good for both STEM tools, both the math space that I have left over here, the math space, and the Google Google Forms are great no matter what grade level that you're in. So I'm going to open up a Google form that I have created. Actually, I'm going to open up a brand new form just so you can see what it forms.new. And so what I can do is you'll notice that if you have the Equatio Editor installed, or the Equatio extension installed, you're going to see these buttons that appear. And if I click on that button, the Equatio Editor, just like you've been using, appears at the bottom. And you can also do the same thing for, so let's say I input a short answer and I say solve for, and I want to put an equation in there. So I'm going to put 3x minus 4 equals 20. So I want solve for that. I can insert, and it will insert that image and put it right there. And let's say I can, first of all, I can turn this into a multiple choice where I provide answers for them and that they can pick. But if I don't do that, if I just leave it as short answer, whenever the kids take this, they also will have a button where they can insert math as well. And so they can insert it, and the Equatio button would pop up. That might not seem like a big deal here because there's a specific answer to this, which I didn't do a good job of setting it up to have a clean answer. But in addition to that, you can, let me bring in a document that I have created. So here we have graph 3x squared and with multiple choice. So here, let's see, 3x squared. Let's see, that's going to be option 1. Let's take a look at what the kids see. So here's 3x minus 1. You notice there's no Equatio button here. They have to pick one of the ones that I gave them. So here's 3x squared, and it is graphed for me. Okay, graph to solve. So now I'm asking the students to graph. So I'm giving them a formula, or I'm giving them, in this case, I'm drawing a blank. Someone help me out. Just type it in chat or say it out loud. It's not an equation. Anyways. So, but the kids will have to insert with math as well. So they will have to figure out what this is. So let me go ahead and click on it, and it will give me the opportunity to bring up the graph, and they will have to solve for it and actually put the answer here. Now, what's nice is, on the teacher side of things, I can say what the answer is for myself whenever I'm ready to grade it. So I was able to put this graph in to show what the answer to my question was for reference for later. So it looks like this one, negative 9, is where it was. So and my graph correctly shows that. And I was able to put this answer into my Google form. And if you need help doing that, we don't have enough time for that this morning, but I'd be happy to walk you through it. And then finally, you can also include links to the math space. Now I'm going to go into this math space here in 1 second. But I just wanted to show that you can insert math into Google Forms as questions that are not just multiple choice, which is usually what math questions are limited to, because prior to Equatio, how can kids put in a graph inside of a formula where they just have to type words? Well, Equatio kind of solves that problem for us. Okay, so I know that's kind of the quick and dirty look at the Google Forms side, but I do want to get to, and I only have about 5 minutes left. I wanted to show off the math space, even just to show you what it looks like. So using my my button off to the far left, the Equatio button, I'm going to click the Try Equatio Math Space. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into this document and I'm going to go ahead and just click on Insert Math Space. This will open up a brand new math space, and it will actually connect it to the document that I was on before. So what can you do with the math space? Well, there's the same editing tools that you were given before. So you have your editor, you have your graphing tool, your handwriting, your mobile, but now you're given a few extras. So I'm given my freehand drawing. I'm also given some shapes, some smart shapes, and some STEM tools as well. Actually, I think STEM tools was on the other one as well. But for example, so whenever I click on my shapes tool, I can, if I needed to draw a circle, I can just quickly draw a circle. But those aren't all of them. There's a lot of math shapes. So I can take a look at all of these math shapes and see them. And let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, we have some tangrams here. So I can, oh, come on, don't do that now. So I can bring in some tangrams. So it's given me this issue earlier, and I don't know why. And then it just starts working all of a sudden. There we go. There's some tangrams. So, but not only are these tangrams available for me to, I can actually pull them apart and give this activity to my students, asking them to put this tangram back together. I'm not just limited to the way that they pulled apart either. Over here on the right, whenever I select on any image, you can see that the label changes. So this is block 1, over here is block 4, here's block 3, and so forth. I can transform these as well. So I can flip them horizontally, I can flip them vertically, I can rotate them if I would like to rotate them. If I wanted to do additional rotating, I can come over here and rotate them as well. So this is kind of I shouldn't say a playground for the kids to do some things, but in a way it certainly is. And there are a ton of different shapes that are available to you, and not just regular shapes. You also have, fraction bars. So here's a 10-segment fraction bar. I'm not even going to mess with it. You can bring them in. Now, in addition to regular shapes, you also have smart shapes. And so I'm going to bring in the fraction bar here. Oh my goodness. See, now it just blew up on me. Let's reload. All right, so let's try my fraction bar. I'm going to give it a second. Maybe I'm doing things too fast. There we go. All right, so this is a smart shape. I'm given a few additional features over here. Like, for example, I can change the number of segments. I can change the number of shaded segments. And so I can use this information or these tools. So these smart tools, you can edit them in more than one way. So here's an angle measurement. I think I just wasn't waiting long enough. There we go. There's an angle measurement, and I can move this angle as well. So I can move this angle from 60 degrees to 90 degrees. You notice that there's now a box to tell me that it is a right angle. And if I change it to 91, it's no longer a right angle. So I'm given quite a few different features. For those of you who teach maybe trig, here's some, you can insert some symbols as well as you go through. I don't see alpha, beta, and stuff like that, but you can also always come into your equation editor. Let's say you need a beta symbol, and you can put your beta symbol insert that into the math. It puts it right over here on the top left. So I can put my, of course, I'm not working on a triangle, so maybe that's why it wasn't appearing, but I can insert my symbols as I need them as we go through. But you're not limited to that. And I keep saying that. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to go back into my my Equatio that I was working on earlier. And this time, instead of opening it up using this button over here, I'm going to open it up over here, because this is the teacher side of things. Okay, so here's the one that I was just working on, but I've also created a few additional ones. So just to kind of show what you can do with this, here's a K-12 document that I made. And so over here on the top left, we have fill in the missing numbers. You can actually assign this to your students so that they can draw on here. And let's see, freehand drawing. So they would be able to draw on this and write the number 4, 5, 6, 7, and so forth. Okay, so so they have the ability to do that. Well, use the freehand tool to draw, drawing tool to set this clock to 3:15. So let's see, let me get my drawing tool, and let's see, 3-ish and 15-ish. Okay, good enough. And so you can set it, but you're not limited with that, because I mean, here we have some trigonomic ratios that we have set up. We have some ordered pairs where they need to go in. Let's see, we use the freehand tool for this and go 3, 1, 2, 3, -2, and they can put their dot on the document. And so so how do you send this to your kids? Okay, so right over here, you're given a share button. And anything that you make in here, you can share. And so whenever I go to the share button on the top right, I'm given the opportunity to either make a copy for each person, which is good, or I can make a copy for each person and expect a response. And this is even better. So now they're not just looking at this, I'm expecting them to answer it as we go through. So now if I click that and click continue, I can either share this link directly with them, or what's better, I can share it with Google Classroom. So if I were to click this Google Classroom button, it's going to actually sync with my Google Classroom that's already set up. So here's Mr. Morgan's homeroom. I want to create an assignment, and let's see, this is Math Space, K-12 assignment. And what's nice is I can go over here, I can individualize this assignment. I can only send it to certain students if I want. I can differentiate, because that's how Google has set it up on their end. And Equatio is only connecting with what Google already does. So I can assign this MathSpace K-12 to 2 students in my homeroom class and click assign, and it's going to get sent directly to them. Now, what does that look like on their end? Again, if we on their end, it's going to be a link that they click on. But I don't have to send it through Google. I can assign it through a link instead. So here's the link. And so what this one says is create 423 using base 10 blocks using MathSpace. So if my students click on that, it's going to bring it up. It's going to make a copy for them. And now it says move the base blocks into the workspace to create 423. So I'm going to create 400, let's see, 423. Now, what I had to do this is I had to make, I made one of these using the shapes button, and then I just copied it 10 times. And so, because you're never going to need more than 9, I guess, in order to do this. So I copied it 10 times, and there we go. And then once the student is ready, they can click submit. On the teacher side of things, you'll notice, going back over here, on the teacher side of things, this is your dashboard, and you can see the assignments that you have sent out. And so here's all the assignments that I've sent out, and I just want to point out right here that I have 2 responses on this. So my son did this, and so you can see the work that he did. Here's the work I did, here's the work he did, and I can check this as well. So I can click on his name, and he decided to not just bring them over, but also change the colors of the blocks, because he didn't like seeing all of them red, and so he changed the colors of all the blocks as well. Now I can leave feedback for him on this. Okay, so I can maybe come over here to my editor and go to the text and say this is awesome, and I can insert that and put it anywhere I'd like. No, that looks funky now. But anyway, so this is awesome. I can give them feedback on this and provide that on here. I can also write on here. And then if I want to turn off my feedback view and just see what they did, then I can set that up right over there. Okay. And finally, once I have provided that feedback, I can send it back to the student, and they're going to get an email that you have looked at it and provided feedback for what we're doing, for what you did on that problem. So there was about 5 things that I didn't get to today that I really, really wanted to get to. I am out of time. So what we're going to do, we're going to, of course, post this video for anyone who would like to rewatch it. So if you're rewatching it, thank you for doing that. But in addition to that, in the Cavern Crusade, there's also going to be some tasks put in there, hopefully within the next few days, that go over not just the things that are here, but some additional items that I didn't get to, like being able to pull in information from the web and being able to copy information inside of a PDF and stuff like that. So. Or from a Khan Academy video, or pulling in from wherever you are. So, but again, I don't want to waste too much more of your time because I'm already over. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining. If you did not get a chance to sign in, I'm going to share that link one more time in the chat. But other than that, again, I appreciate you guys hanging in with me, and I hope you have a good rest of your Wednesday. If you have any questions, I should say this. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to hang around here for about 10 more minutes, so feel free to ask. But other than that, I'll let everyone else go. Thanks.